Hey guys, today I'll be reading a one-shot fic, Astronomy Club 4X Assassins by Olive_of_Vanders. Now, as always, further information will be in description. Damian was less pleased by the turn of events. To continue with the year, he had to have an extracurricular. Sadly, he could not cite his work as Robin as extracurricular, because it would put his family in risk and wasn't connected to school. So, the blood son stared at that school pamphlets with disdain. They were all brightly coloured, all vying for his distasteful attention. Except for one. It was as dark as the night sky, covered in beautiful art of constellations. Constellations Damian had not been able to see since he had come to Gotham. A night sky that reminded him of his past. Yet the lovely sight soothed him. He picked the pamphlet up, holding it closer as he read the words. Gotham Academy Astronomy Club. How intriguing. He continued reading the information, wondering what requirements would be needed to be in this club. Astronomy Club is run by Dr. Daniel Fenton, the astronomy teacher and substitute chemistry teacher at Gotham Academy. Astronomy Club takes place after school from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. However, there will most likely be trips to places such as the Observatory, which may occur in the later hours of the day, or during weekends. However, it would not exceed past 11 p.m. as agreed with the school. It would take up his evenings, but not before patrol. He could ignore his siblings easily by attending an astronomy club, and he could see the clear sky. Well, he hoped. Gotham was stifling, and as much as his father loved it with its smog and all, Damian did not appreciate the toxic air. He quickly decided he was going to attend an astronomy club, whether his father agreed to it or not. He took the pamphlet with a determined look in his eye, and quickly walked downstairs to propose his idea to his father. He passed his siblings on the way there. Drake looked confused and ready to sleep, but Damian greeted him anyway. It was better for Drake to think that this was a hallucination than question why Damian was walking around in Red Robin-themed pyjamas. "Father," Damian spoke as he entered the living room, where he knew his father was. His father liked being here during the morning, in case he was able to speak with any of his children. It was a constant, except for when he was gravely injured. "Is there something wrong, Damian?" Bruce asked, concern leaking into his voice as he peered over his newspaper. On the front was the recent escapades of Batman and Robin. "My school requires me to take an extracurricular." Damian started putting the pamphlet down in front of his father. His father looked at the pamphlet curiously. Taking in each word slowly and carefully, he was analysing the paper, as if it would cause them some harm. "Astronomy?" Father asked curiously, taking the pamphlet in his coarse hands. His father turned it over, looking over the information. He looked up at Damian, and for a moment he paused. He then nodded, handing the pamphlet back. "You can go. Just tell Alfred your schedule and let me sign any needed permission slips." Father smiled kindly down at him, and Damian internally beamed. His plan had worked, so he nodded in agreement and hid away back into his room to prepare for the day. His uniform was constricting. The tie was too close for his neck, easy to strangle him with, or to pull him closer. It was an impractical piece of cloth that could be used to harm him. However, his father was adamant he went to Gotham Academy to assimilate into everyday life. Like Damian was capable of understanding the lives of Gothamites, as he had lived in a cult and isolated from the world. He did not understand their slang, their jokes, or even their habits. He, for a long time, did not understand that killing was wrong. He did know that vaping was just cheap smoking and that damage was unknown at the moment. It was curious how humans worked. Well, how Americans worked. He wondered if the rest of the world was like this extreme. Though, if it was, there would be more interesting news. He did wonder, though. He wondered as the day dragged on, and he wondered as he waited for the rest of the Astronomy Club in the promised room. He waited for a few moments, and no one came. He wondered if he should leave, but the teacher just arrived. He looked up to see a wide-eyed teacher with hope in his eyes. "Oh shoot, I'm so sorry, I didn't realise..." The man, Dr. Fenton, stumbled over his words. "No one usually comes, so I didn't expect..." He smiled sheepishly as Damian hummed. "No one has attended?" he asked in a slight shock. As he had heard many things about Dr. Fenton, he was eccentric, kind, and cared for his students. He was surprised none of his students returned that care and attended his club. "No, not since I set it up a few years back. Usually a few people get confused while looking for the robotics club," Dr. Fenton explained with a pained smile. A shame, really. Astronomy was an important subject. Even his mother cherished the stars. They were a great navigational tool, or so his grandfather said. "The stars are intriguing to me," Damian admitted. "They bring a peace I have not felt since I've come to Gotham." Damian explained. Dr. Fenton smiled, humming in agreement. "Oh, I know. When I moved to Gotham, I mourned the loss of the stars. I usually go a few hours out of the big cities during school breaks just to see them again." Dr. Fenton admitted, a wide grin on his face as a happy pepper into his steps. Damian was surprised, as he was unaware that Dr. Fenton wasn't a Gothamite like most teachers. He had to be crazy to live in Gotham, and even crazier to move there. It was a common saying with Gothamites while they observed outsiders like hawks. "Interesting," Damian stated before pausing. "Dr. Fenton, are all Americans like this, or is it just Gotham?" Damian asked curiously, getting a small beat of silence as Dr. Fenton thought. "First, call me Mr. Fenton, or just anything. I don't mind," and Dr. Fenton trailed off. "Americans are very extreme, but not Gothamite extreme. Each state has their own kind of thing to be extreme about. New Jersey, and hence Gotham, have crime rates as their extreme." Dr. Fenton shrugged as he tried to explain it. Damian hummed, finding the answer suitable for now as he nodded. The silence echoed throughout the classroom and was filled with odd students' projects about the solar system. Neither were sure how to continue as the light slowly faded away. "What would you like to know?" Dr. Fenton asked as he hopped onto the teacher's desk to sit down on the hardwood. Damian hummed, still standing on the rickety floorboards. "Can you teach me the stories?" Damian asked, his small voice echoing throughout the nearly empty room. Dr. Fenton smiled widely and agreed, holding out his hand and inviting Damian to join him as he took out a book. A storybook. A book about the constellations, nonetheless. Damian was enjoying his astronomy club immensely. He did not tell his family much about it, but he did show them his artwork on the solar system before he gave it to Dr. Fenton. Dr. Fenton had beamed at him, complimenting his work for a good 15 minutes as he hung it up near his desk. Damian felt like a child getting the art stuck on the fridge door. He felt proud and happy. Damian felt like Dr. Fenton was like a second Richard figure. He was bubbly, fun, and yet he understood boundaries and fiercely protected Damian. Which, well, Damian found out when they went to the observatory for a visit. "We have to make sure you're home by 8, right?" Dr. Fenton grinned down at Damian, and he nodded in confirmation. They looked around, Dr. Fenton explaining the telescopes and playing for the entire trip out of his own pocket. Damian felt guilty trying to pay for himself, but Dr. Fenton just waved him off and paid for him each time. This is a really good telescope. I'm surprised they even let a beta version of the James Webb telescope. Dr. Fenton had gushed, showing Damian all the breathtaking pictures of the telescope he had taken. Damian was enamoured by the pillars of creation, where new stars form within the dense cloud of gas and dust. He loved how it looked like an outreaching hand. However, he was cut out of his musing by yelling. Dr. Fenton had quickly grasped his shoulder and hid both of them underneath an information table. Dr. Fenton looked determined and worried, keeping a keen eye on Damian as the yelling continued, and threatening gunshots entered the cacophony of chaos. "Isn't that Wayne Brat meant to be here?" one of the gun-wielding idiots yelled out to the other grunting an affirmative sound as they looked around their hostages for Damian. Dr. Fenton kept Damian close before putting a finger on his lip, indicating for Damian to stay quiet. Damian nodded, hoping to soothe his favourite teacher's nerves. "Stay here," Dr. Fenton had ordered, making Damian quickly look up in shock. He went to speak, but Dr. Fenton shook his head quickly, and then left the safety of his table. Damian peeked out, seeing his teacher sneak around the armed men. He was very surprised to see his teacher sneak attack them, taking them all out one by one. Damian heard heavy footsteps get close to him, so he quickly hid his body from view as quietly as he could. The footsteps stopped, and for a few tense minutes Damian thought he'd been found, when the person bent down, slowly going to grab the cloth that was hiding Damian from view. They were viciously kicked away by familiar Doc Marten shoes. "What the hell?" one of the men yelled, but a crash told Damian he was thrown away again. People were cheering when Dr. Fenton knelt down and pulled up the tablecloth. Dr. Fenton was grinning down at him with relief in his eye, and then it clicked. Dr. Fenton just took out possibly 5 to 6 armed men by himself. The teacher had no signs of prior training, especially at the level he was on, but Damian took his teacher's hand to get pulled up. He would trust this man with his life, he decided. Well, to an extent. The man had showed him kindness and compassion of a family member. However, he was not family. A devious thought was stricken to his life in Damian's mind. He was not family yet. When his father came to collect him, he knew he had to act quickly, as Dr. Fenton stood next to him. "Father, can we invite Dr. Damian over for dinner, as a thank you?" Damian asked evenly, not trying to let his intentions be shown to his overanalyzing father. "Of course, Damian," father agreed quickly, no doubt because of his Brucey persona. "I would love for you to come over sometime, Mr. He trailed off, always trying to get Dr. Fenton's name. "Just call me Danny," Dr. Fenton said with an awkward smile. "I don't want to impose. You don't need to repay me at all. I was just doing my job." Dr. Fenton shrugged, while Damian deadpanned. He forgot how dense his favourite teacher was. It took a week for him to figure out the man's favourite constellation, with subtle questioning. "You won't be imposing, Danny." Bruce smiled widely. "How about this Saturday? Would this Saturday be good?" Bruce pestered Dr. Fenton. Dr. Fenton looked unsure, his feet shifting on the stone stairs beneath him that led up to the observatory. "Sure," Dr. Fenton agreed reluctantly. All this is going in accordance with Damian's hastily made plan. He was overjoyed when Dr. Fenton joined their family for dinner on Saturday. The rest had been informed and their guest, so the vigilante ways were put away for the night. Dr. Fenton mostly spoke with father, talking about academics and scholarship programs. "What do you think of scholarships?" Jason had spoken up, as Dr. Fenton and father were only talking about their helpfulness. They're handy, and it's always good to have an easy access into education if you're able to. I wouldn't have been able to be a double major in chemistry and astrology if it wasn't for a scholarship my sister insisted I took a chance on. Dr. Fenton shrugged as he took a sip of his drink. He looked up to see Jason humming in approval. Damian was just happy his brother agreed with his choice in father's suitor. Interesting, father spoke up, leaning over to Damian slightly. How did you become a teacher at Gotham Academy? Father asked curiously, making Dr. Fenton look amused. A deal with the devil and lose an argument with my sister. Dr. Fenton shrugged, as if it had made sense. Though the devil was more like my evil future self, Dr. Fenton shrugged. I'm sure you're familiar with stuff like that, Mr. Batman. Dr. Fenton glanced at father before taking a bite of his Brussels sprout. Damian was not aware that Dr. Fenton was aware of their identities. He didn't know. He, in time, would have trusted Dr. Fenton with his family's secret, but he wasn't aware his teachers had known this entire time. I'm familiar with the possibilities, Mr. Phantom. Father sighed, a fond sigh that was usually used for those close to him. Damian felt his mind screech to a halt. Phantom? Wasn't he the retired hero? Long before the Justice League formed? Glad you know of them, Bat Bitch. Dr. Fenton smiled, his smile stretching to show all the sharp teeth, as father rolled his eyes. Nice to see you again, Danny. Father spoke fondly, getting a nod from Dr. Fenton. At least you aren't a sad, grungy boy in a fursuit anymore. You're a sad emo man in a leather suit. Dr. Fenton grinned as father sighed deeply. However, Damian noticed the blush on father's face and the fondness in his eyes. This just might work after all. Now he just needed to get his siblings in on this. Hey guys, yes, sadly, this is the end of today's one-shot fic. As always, information will be in the description. Hope to see you again sometime soon. Bye!